Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Roughie and Tam McManus are here with me in the studio. Thank you to you for joining us on PLZ Soccer on a regular basis as we get into the final games going all the way down to the end of the season now. And hopefully you're going to enjoy this weekend's games over Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, the early kickoff is, of course, at Ibrox. It's Rangers against Celtic, the last Old Firm fixture of the season. The league games will run out, and then there'll be the Scottish Cup final to look forward to. It's got a strange feel about it, this Old Firm game, Roughie, because it's quite flat.
It is flat. I would think the supporters more than anybody will be wanting to win this game. I know the players will as well, but I think the players' point of view, if Celtic don't win it, they've still got the cup final to come up. You know, if Rangers do win it, you know, that would be two on the bounce, you know, and the supporters will enjoy that. But as far as Celtic are concerned, the cup final is a big one for them.
Yeah, Jota's out for 9 months, 6 to 9 months, which is a real blow for Celtic. Alistair Johnston injured, so it looks as if Ralston will come in. Anthony Ralston will come in at right back, straight swap. But Jota is a huge blow, Tam.
Yeah, it is, because obviously he's come back and he hadn't been playing anyway, Peter, so he was still finding his feet in terms of getting his fitness. He showed little flashes of the old Jota and bits and pieces at Celtic, but he still didn't look 100% fit. But you know, that's a huge blow for him. Celtic thought they'd win a watch. They still might have won a watch by getting him on that for that money after selling him for 25 million. So big blow for the boy. I've seen him obviously celebrating last week with the crutches and stuff. So you thought you were hoping it wasn't that bad, but that's a real bad one for him. And psychologically, it's going to be tough for him now. You know, I've been out myself for a long period of time. It's hard to keep yourself motivated and keep your head up. And
what's the toughest part?
It's seeing your teammates going out every day training, Peter. I found that I broke my leg at Hibs and I was out for 7 months, and everybody coming in happy, go lucky, you know, getting their training gear on out, and you're in the gym every day. It was demoralising at times, and you need a lot of support. You need people around about you, your family, but you need the coaches and the players to keep you going as well. And I think that's what he'll need, because obviously he came back in and he was on his debut, his second debut, he scored the goal at Motherwell and everything looked rosy. He looked as if he was back. And it just shows you the highs and lows of football. So he's going to be a long road back for him, but he's got to keep his head up, and he's got to have the players around about him to keep him motivated as well.
I can't remember you ever having a long-term injury, Roughie, did you?
Yeah, I broke my ankle. I broke my ankle at East Fife in a Scottish Cup tie. I think I was out for 2 months. And
2 months for a broken ankle?
So you actually broke your ankle in a game?
In a game, yeah.
I thought you were maybe running out of a house somewhere.
No, I came out to tackle this boy who broke through, and the guy kicked me.
Yeah.
But, it was interesting, in fact, how I got back in.
Go on.
Without naming names. I was out for 2 months, and Pat Stanton, I said to Pat Stanton, I think I'm ready to play. Come out of the reserve. I want to give him the reserves. And he says, no, doctor says you're too early. You have to leave it in a couple of weeks. I says, oh, give me a game. He said, no, just leave it. So I just left it. So on the Friday night, I was sitting in the house. The Hibs were playing Dundee, and Pat phoned me and he said, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. He said, just
sober?
as I was on Tuesday.
You sober?
I had a Knickerbocker glory because the ice cream van had come round. It came round, and he said, no, I'm going to play you tomorrow. I says, you told me I wasn't to play. He says, we need to play tomorrow. I said, well, come clean, what is it? He says, other goalie's in the jail. I won't name who it was. I can't name it. The boy's been playing in your place, has been lifted, and he's in the jail, so you need to play.
Now we've got everybody Googling who was in the jail in the 80s.
Hibs supporters will know who was in the jail.
Right, okay. Anyway, apart from anything else, I did say it's flat. It's a kind of a... It's never flat when the game, you get closer to it, Rangers against Celtic in any capacity. I think almost we're trying to create something out of nothing, create a wee bit of a noise up here, because usually there is a wee bit of spice that comes around this game. But the Guard of Honour thing is, I mean, it is absolutely a complete load of nonsense. And, you know, we've got to give it some kind of mention, because there's nothing else to talk about as far as the press are concerned. The league's done. You know, if I see one more, picture of a consortium getting a tour around Ibrox, I mean, it's almost as if stories have had to run longer than they normally would have, because Celtic have had this in the bag for such a long time. And, as you would imagine, Brendan's trying to just throw in a grenade just to see if he can add a little bit of spice to it with this Guard of Honour. He was asked about it today. This is what he had to say. The Guard of Honour thing, it's not a rule. And when the rivalry is so emotional, it's always difficult for the team that comes up short. I always think if you're not a champion, showing that humility to the other team, whatever the rivalry is, it's a mark of respect. If you're up short and you come up short quite a lot, then it can be a challenge for you to justify it. So, I mean, if ever there's a noise up, there it is.
Yeah, but listen, the fans will lap that up. I think that quote is designed for the supporters, you know, to get them on side. But yeah, listen, I think it is a nonsense. I don't think Celtic and Rangers would ever do it. I don't think you would see Walker Juniors and River Plate doing it. I don't think you would see the big rivalries, Peter. You know, you could maybe get, you know, some softer rivalries, you know, kind of giving them a guard of honour, but I just don't see it with Celtic and Rangers. And
I'm going to have to look it up though, Tam. I'm going to have to look up and see if there's been any big teams that have given
not with that sort of hatred, Peter, with them amongst the teams. I don't think so. I'd be surprised, but you know, going back to the game, I think it's a bigger game for Celtic, Peter. I really do. I think the supporters have been, you know, peeved by the performances against Rangers over the last 3 performances. I think the 3-0 at Ibrox, Celtic never turned up. Cup final, could have went either way, Peter, you know, and Celtic nicked it in penalties, and then really disappointing performance at Parkhead. So I think that's annoyed supporters, Celtic supporters in particular. You know, Rangers supporters, you know, if we'd have done well against other teams, we'd have been much closer. So I think you'll see a Celtic team that's going to be more fired up, but Rangers are hard to call at the minute, Peter. They look as if, you know, they've down tools. They're looking forward to the summer. A lot of players are not going to be there. The manager's probably not going to be there. But they're capable of turning up on the day against Celtic. They get motivated for the big games. But I just think Celtic, since the St Johnston game, when Brendan came out and gave them a rattle after the game, I think they've been on it, back on it again. 15 goals, I think, 3 games. And I think they go to Ibrox and win.
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting one. I'm going to read out a few of the messages here. Paul says it's inane pish, this Guard of Honour gibberish. Paul in that sort of... Paul's...
I like the one that I read from the Celtic supporter saying they should just do away with the Guard of Honour, really no bothering about it. But in all fairness, I think Rangers should play a wee tune as the team comes out, and Simply the Best would be a good one to start with.
I think as John mentions here, he says, I want Brendan to let his team do the talking on the pitch by winning the derby. No ifs, no buts. Listen, I think lots of Celtic fans will tell you they want to win the match. They want Brendan's side to put down a marker because of the aforementioned problems they've had in previous games. And as ever, everybody's well documented. Rangers' frailties have come against the other teams. They just haven't been able to get results against teams smaller than them, and that's really cost them. And Celtic have won this league at an absolute canter. So, with that in mind, what do you think the score's going to be? Give us your thoughts on it. What's your thoughts on Jota? Big blow, not just for now, but obviously as you get ready to go into qualifiers for the Champions League next season. So it's huge. Give us your thoughts on that as well. As far as Celtic are concerned, good news seems to follow with regards to not only the title, but a new deal in place, Tam, with the new strip and a long-term deal with Adidas. A lot of money coming in, reported to be 30 million, but who knows?
Yeah, listen, I think Adidas obviously are one of the biggest kit suppliers in the world. I think that the quality of Adidas gear hasn't always been tremendous. I think I'm not so sure about the strip. I've seen a couple of, I don't know if it's been leaked, a couple of pictures of it online. Yeah. I think the Celtic supporters don't like the black trim. I think it was the same, was it like 2 seasons ago? Like this strip gets slaughtered.
Yes.
So I think that, listen, it doesn't matter if the Celtic strip, as long as it's got hoops, the Celtic fans will buy it. But
it doesn't look too much of a change, does it?
Nah, it doesn't look too, and it looks as if it's kind of darker green as well. But as I said, Adidas are calling the shots. They're paying the money. They design the strip, and I'm sure the Celtic fans will buy it. But yeah, it just shows you, more money coming into the club. Celtic seem to get the best deal when they get players, when they get sponsorships, and that's why they're such a well-run club.
As far as Rangers are concerned going into this one, well, we do know that Leon Balogun trained today with a mask. I think players are used to that now. Mm-hmm. Lots of players wear a mask for face protection.
Yeah, it seems to be the way ahead. Obviously, it's a difficult one if you've broken your cheek, and if you're particularly a centre-half, the pressure that's going to be on you when you're ahead of the ball. So they've got to protect them in that way. So Yep, I'm sure the technology will help him out there.
Yeah, PJ says, Peter, I would like to see Celtic win, but it's a nothing game. The result is irrelevant. I'm not too sure too many people would share that view with you. Only the game that matters for him is the cup final, as you mentioned there, Roughie. Jota out is a massive blow. And by the way, a nice wee message here that I thought I'd read out from Kenny. It says his daughter got married last weekend, so he's looking forward to coming back in a month's time. Obviously, just nicely in time for the cup final. Comes back, looking for Aberdeen to win it. We parade down Union Street and then back to LA, Roughie. That would be a humdinger for him.
Remind me, the last time he came here, did it all go well, or did it turn a bit sour?
No, it went a bit sour. Yeah.
6-0.
Kenny,
It can't be worse than that. It can't be worse than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't bring the family with you. You don't want them all in a complete downer. So, as far as Rangers are concerned, listen, sometimes you want, as a football purist, to win it with free-flowing football and great goals. But Barry Ferguson just wants to win.
Yeah, better change. And it has to change. So that's something, again, we spoke about as a group. That's something that I wasn't happy with. That was clear. You seen that after the game. So again, we went through a lot this week, and I expect him to take the information on. I couldn't care less about the performance. I just want to get 3 points. It's a bonus for me if you play well in the games. I tend to know, look, what happened in the past. That was a number of weeks ago, and I will expect the same level, if not better, in Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, Barry's excited. He'll have spoken to Kevin Thelwell. He'll be excited at the prospect of potential new owners, whether he's there or not. I think he's fairly philosophical about it. But if you get a win against Celtic and you've had a chat with him before and he's been and he's seen the atmosphere when things are going well, that certainly the potential investors have looked at it and must have been impressed with the games that they've been at. If you cap it all off with a win in front of the investors in the biggest derby, that really does give them a little bit of it gives them a little bit of strength and positioning and saying, well, please don't forget me, I'm still here.
Yeah, I think it gives him a stronger case, Peter, when he goes in to argue, why he should get the job. I'm sure that Barry would love the job. He's desperate for the job. If he beats Celtic twice, in 2 games, then he goes into Kevin Thelwell and the new owners and says, listen, I know how to I've got the blueprint to beat Celtic. We have to do better against other teams, but if I get better players in, more of my own guys in, then I think I can do that as well. So, yeah, it gives him more clout when it comes to putting his name forward for the job. And listen, Barry will be up for the game, whether it was 20 points ahead, 20 points behind is irrelevant to Barry. He wants to beat Celtic in every game, so he'll have the players fired up. It's up to the players when they step across that white line. It's up to them. But in terms of the coaching staff, you look at the guys there. Billy Dodds, Neil McCann, Alan McGregor, Barry Ferguson. They'll all be desperate to beat Celtic, no matter how many points they are behind. So yeah, I think it is a big game for Barry. And as I said, if he wins it, he goes in and says, "Listen, I know how to get the better Celtic. If you back me, and we get some better quality players in, then I can go and beat the rest as well." So, yeah, it's probably a big game for Barry.
Why do you think? I just can't quite work out at times. I mean, I don't think they're a great side. I look at some of their players, and the standout has been Czerny. But I just can't work out why they seem to have had this, Indian sign over Celtic in these matches, because they've had the best of them. Is it down to Celtic's inept performances on the day? Is it down to the way Rangers have gone about their business and worked them out?
I just think, as far as the Rangers-Celtic games, I think Rangers play well when they're winning against Celtic. I think if everything's going their way, the players are up for it. They don't go into a shell. They know they're winning the game, and they're in the game. And but in the reverse of that, I think when they go behind, they go into a shell. So I think they really need to score first. They need to get in the front foot. They need to get all the supporters behind them. because there is, I would say, 50% of that team can't handle the pressure if things aren't going particularly well.
Yeah, and in the game itself, as ever, you know, the start is usually when you get, well, listen, if we get anything like Inter Barcelona in the start, then I'll be well happy with watching the game. But, you know, there's, I think, 2,000 Celtic fans going to be there, so that's a considerable amount to cheer them on. Will it make any difference? Is it just basically a situation where, you know, Celtic will not really bother about it? A number of fans on here are saying the league's in the bag, it doesn't matter, but I don't buy that.
I don't buy that, Peter, either. That sounds as if people are, you know, don't caring if they get beat off Rangers. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's particularly when you see the way Celtic have played against Rangers over the last 3 games. You know, Rangers arguably could have won all 3 of them. So no, I think that Celtic have got a point to prove. I think they want to go out and say to Rangers, we're still the dominant force. You know, you've beat us a few times, and I don't think that Brendan wants to get into the next season having lost 3 games in a row to Rangers, so a league game. So listen, I think it is still a big game, and I think that Celtic will turn up. I think they have to turn up. I think Callum McGregor will get the players in the dressing room and go, listen, they've had the better of us. It's not tasted good for us. You know, we've been criticised after these games. Let's go out and put performance in. And I think the 2,000 fans will help. I think they helped Rangers at Parkhead. Just even having that wee pocket there, Peter. You know, you can hear them. You heard the Rangers fans during the game. You heard them after the game. And I think Celtic having the 2,000 fans will help them. But I don't agree with the league's done. It's a dead rubber. I don't agree with that at all. I think that Celtic fans were annoyed and a wee bit pissed off that they have not performed against Rangers in the last 3 games. Yeah,
well, Callum McGregor will certainly be there, Roughie, and he'll have a point to prove. But I have to ask you, on the basis of what you witnessed with Rangers last week, and Barry, you know, to be fair to him, after the press conference, again, just let them have it. Just, you know, he just made everybody aware of their inability, you know, to keep anybody out at the back, and teams no longer fear Rangers. No. And Celtic, will they have their kind of Champions League mentality on?
I think they have to. You know, I think you still want to win this game. I think I wasn't privileged enough to play in one of these games, but I think if you ask any of the guys that we've had in the studio, every game is important. Doesn't matter how many points you are ahead. You want the bragging rights. It'll be the last one Rangers Celtic game for the end of the season. So you've got next season to keep saying, you know, we're the top team, blah, 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 and you go with that. If Rangers win the game, they'll come out with their saying, well, the gap's not that big on a 1-1 game. And winning the game means a lot. You know, if you're just a normal punter going into your work on a Monday and your team's won, you're going to suffer a bit of banter, you know, and you don't want to be the end of that banter. You want to be, you know, winning the game. So from that aspect, I think the supporters really want to win the game.
Give us your prediction, Roughie, and why?
I'm going to go 1 each. I don't know why, after Rangers' performance last week, but they've got a home advantage. The majority of the crowd behind them. I think a lot of the players have got something to prove to the manager. They have shown that they can raise their game, but for me, they need to score first. If they go behind, they'll lose the game. So I'm thinking they're going to score first, and I'm going to go 1 each.
Okay, 1 each to draw. Tam, a score line and why?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 3-2 to Celtic. I think that
5 goals.
I think with 5 goals in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll look back at last season, was it 3 each? I think there'll be goals. I think there'll be an open game. Peter, I don't think Rangers are going to sit back. You know, they're going to go and have a go at Celtic, and that will suit Celtic, and vice versa.
Would you be doing the spread betting on this? Is that the type of thing you're doing?
No, I just
responsibly. I must.
No. As I said, I'll watch the game. But
would you bet 3-2?
I think it's worth a fiver.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be goals in the game, Peter. I think the Rangers are capable of hurting Celtic. You've seen that this season in the 2 or 3 games. But conversely, I think that Celtic, Adam Ida's hit a bit of form as well. I think he obviously scored a couple at Ibrox last year. And I think he'll be a problem. Maida's always a thorn in the side of Rangers. So I'm expecting a real open game, and I'll go for 3-2 to Celtic. Okay,
it's a tough one to call actually when you think about it. I think it's got the. I'm going to sit with Skells in my backside with you, Roughie. I think it could be 2-2 just on the basis that you know, getting the goals and then holding on to it for Rangers has not been easy. That's been the story of their whole season. You know, getting goals and then all of a sudden giving them away or suddenly having to come back. Okay. And Mo has said Peter's now going to ask you for your top 5 dead rubbers because we'll have a top 5, but I've never known. I mean, honestly, we've kind of cantered towards this week a game which more often than not, Roughie, you're super excited about, and you're thinking to yourselves, there was a period where, from about, what was it, 2003 all the way through, in fact, I think it was 2003, up to 2005, and then beyond that, you'd seasons where Celtic and Rangers were neck and neck. It was down to goal difference. It was, players with an opinion, players that actually would come out and speak to the press and leather everybody. There was a bit of an edge to it. There's not been a bit of an edge to this one at all.
No, it's because of the large difference in points, and it's not deciding anything. Sometimes when you come to the split, if Celtic or Rangers were only 3 or 4 points clear, you would go, this one's crucial. Whoever wins it, could turn the tables on each other. But that's not the case. But I still think both players on the park want to win the game. They won't see it as a nothing game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they segregate the fans as well. I know that they were in that little triangle. That doesn't, it's probably the best you can do. But when you've got 2,000 or so there,
I think Celtic will get in a couple of hours early, and supporters, I think they'll come out maybe an hour or two late after everybody's away. I think that's what happened at Parkhead, and everybody went home safely. So as I said, I think as long as there's no issues with police and all that, and no issues with supporters, they'll probably get in early and come out late, but they'll not care if they get a result.
Yeah, and if it's 3-2, Tam, who's the hero for you? Who's scoring the goals?
I'm going to go for Adamida. I think that since he was pictured in the back of a taxi with a couple of women, he's really come onto a game.
Yeah, that caught your ear, didn't it?
Aye.
Yeah.
I just think he's really come onto a game. So
was that?
He's had a good night.
Is this the vomit one or is this another one?
This is the vomit one.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
A couple of females. So
listen,
a good night, and he seems to be rejuvenated.
Yeah. Well, that's why probably Roughie played till he was 39. Same taxi. Anyway, this weekend there might be nothing at stake in the game between Rangers and Celtic. There's certainly something at stake for everybody when you consider the awards ceremony that's taking place, the PFA Scotland Player of the Year Awards. And it probably is the first time in a long time, Roughie, that you've not been going to the Player of the Year Awards, obviously because you would have to pay and nobody's asked you to go or paid for you for the last 13 years since I've known you.
No, believe it or not, I had the opportunity to be at that dinner, but as I told you, because of solidarity, I heard you weren't doing it. So I said, right, I'm not going.
You're not going, yeah. It'll be a good night with Emma and Grant, and people who are nominated for it certainly deserve a mention, Roughie. Who do you think is going to win the Player of the Year? Is there anybody stopping Maeda?
No, not for me, no. I think he's been consistent for the whole year. And he deserves every minute of it. Since Kyogo went, everybody was doubting, and I was one of them. I said, you can't play him up front. He's he's not a centre forward, but he doesn't have to be a centre forward. He's got that half a yard sharper than everybody else, and a lot of the goals he scores has been great. So not only one winner for me. Yeah,
and he has actually just nobody's really been craving the return of Kyogo at any point. Sometimes you hear fans talking about, he's missed. Not missed with Maeda. He's really stepped up, hasn't he?
No, he hasn't, and he surprised me, Peter, with his movement. I didn't think he had that type of movement.
Well, he has played that position before.
Yeah, he scored so many goals with just making runs in between defenders, and you look at him and you think, right, he's a pacey winger. He gets the ball, he's very direct, he gets the head down and runs at a defender. He's not really got a trick, and just to have that intelligence in the striker role. It surprised me a wee bit because he's got so many goals, the ball's getting flashed across, and he makes that run before the defender, and he's in there waiting, and he scored a ton of goals like that. So I think he showed that he's a better player and more intelligent than maybe people give him credit for. Yeah,
and I think it's nice that some people on our feed are mentioning the fact that Simon Murray does indeed deserve a mention for his season. He's been magnificent. I think when you look at his goals, I think the Dundee Players Management Board will all owe a debt to Simon Murray if they stay in the Premiership, because his goals have been unbelievable. Young player, are we undecided on this? Are you Engels?
I'm Engels, not because Liam Miller isn't a good player. I just don't think...
Lennon Miller.
I think he's had a full season.
Yeah.
I think he's been out. He hasn't grabbed a lot of games by the scruff of the neck.
You think Engels has?
No, I just see things in Engels, when he plays games, he's got something other players...
You understand what the criteria is for Player of the Year, don't you? It's players vote for somebody who is Player of the Year, not players voting and saying, you know what, I see something in him.
No, that's why I don't think Lennon Miller's done enough for the whole season. He's been out for a long part of the game, but I think Engels in the games that he's played
has been great.
Not great, but better than the others.
So it's mediocre Player of the Year.
Better than the others. No, I just like watching him. I just like watching him.
I just want to know what you're thinking on it. Tom, you're Engels, aren't you?
Do you know what, Peter? I don't think any of them have really stood out.
No.
I don't think any of them have really stood out and went, yep, definitely him. He's a great season.
So they're opening the gold envelope and saying, look, there's no...
Just think anybody could win it. Peter, yeah. Lennon Miller's been in and out of the team with injuries, unfortunately for him. I agree with Roughie. Towards the last month or two, he's not really been taking games with the scruff of the neck, but I think maybe Engels will get it. But as I said, I don't think the candidates have been great.
Yeah, Manager of the Year.
Ask me tomorrow.
I know it's a tough one, isn't it? If John McGlynn wins against, I
think Falkirk winning the league.
Yeah,
is a bigger achievement than Celtic winning the treble. I do, Peter. I think it's harder for Falkirk to win the championship than it is for Celtic to win the treble this year. So I think if John McGlynn wins the night, I would give it to John McGlynn. But you're asking me, before the act, and I just think back to back coming up for League One into Championship, winning the league back to back, it's an incredible achievement for Falkirk.
Yeah, I'm in the. It's such a tough call. The only reason managers vote for it, Roughie, so it's not as if it's some kind of 4 or 5 man panel or even VAR. I think John McGlynn's been absolutely magnificent, but the only thing that sways me, and this might be the difference in it, Roughie, is over the course of the season as Manager of the Year, Brendan Rodgers, if he wins a treble, is no mean feat. Regardless of what predicament other clubs find themselves in. But the one thing that swayed me towards it slightly is the fact that I thought after Borussia Dortmund, I thought he really got his act together in Europe, but Europe doesn't come into the Manager of the Year. It's all to do with the league. That's why it's so tough to call it between Rodgers and... I think Rodgers' Celtic side in Europe, and especially in Munich, was unbelievable. That was a great performance. Atalanta as well, but... if we're dealing solely with the league, and the domestic issues, John McGlynn's achievement is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think a lot of the managers in the divisions will say that whoever's won has been unbelievable. I think the two boys at Arbroath have been unbelievable since they went in there.
Yeah.
They've taken the club from nowhere to winning the league by so much. So they'll look at they've got a chances. I think it's John McGlynn and a lesser managers get more chance of winning this one because I think the teams there's more managers in the lower divisions. Do you know what I mean? Voting. Like the second division, first division, championship. I think the managers in the Premier division will appreciate more what Brendan Rodgers done because they're coming up against Brendan Rodgers' team and getting turned over, so they'll see how good they are.
Yeah.
So I think he would get a lot of votes for the Premiership.
So you think he's going to lose it on a technicality, Brendan?
No, I think there's more managers in the Championship, in the first division and the second division would vote for John McGlynn.
Yeah.
No, because they don't have the resources, they don't have the budgets. But I think the managers in the Premiership would appreciate how hard it is to win the league and by so much.
Yeah, Kenny says back-to-back promotions with Falkirk, he'll deserve Manager of the Year. But if he lose tonight, Tom,
they've got to go for a line, Peter.
Our documentary suddenly turns into a horror show, doesn't it? I mean, honestly,
Nightmare in Grangemouth.
How Falkirk blew the league. I mean, it's just grim.
As I said, they've got to go over the line. But if they do, then it's only an opinion. There'll be Celtic supporters on there thinking you're talking nonsense, Tom. If you win a treble, you should win the League Manager of the Year. But I just think coming up from League One and then winning Championship, and I think that would be a fabulous achievement for them. Yeah,
I'm going to talk about the Championship shortly, but of course, as well as Rangers against Celtic on the Sunday, on the Saturday, there are some big games, of course. Ross County still trying to get away from the playoff place. They take on Hearts. Strange gagging order situation with the players, Tam, that got them into a bit of a sticky wicket when asked about Neil Critchley's departure 24 hours after he'd
We had
gone.
him, Benny.
Yeah.
Right in amongst us.
Well, right in amongst it, but there was a kind of a silence from them. They were told not to speak to the media. Didn't look good. What can players say? You know, apart from the trotting out the old garbage, we let the manager down rubbish.
Yeah, I think I don't think anybody said anything. I think it was just, I think Lauren Shankland, there was a smirk or a smile or something, and I think that maybe people have took it the wrong way. Listen, you can react the wrong way when somebody sticks a camera in front of your face and asks you a question, like we Adam done. So, yeah, I think they're getting a wee bit of heat for that. I don't think that Lauren Shankland done anything wrong. I believe he reached out to Neil Critchley and said there was nothing in it. I didn't mean to disrespect you, but yeah, I think they're better just keeping quiet. Listen, Hearts on a bad run at the minute. You know, they still need a few points just to make sure they're going to be safe, and they've got a big game at Ross County. So I think Liam Fox and the staff there are just saying, listen, just don't be speaking out of turn. Just don't speak to anybody. Let's get the job done, and then we can speak at the end of the season. So yeah, I've not got an issue with that, but I can understand why it didn't come across well when they got into the Player of the Year doing. Some of them didn't look as if they really cared that the manager had left. I think Anne Budge had said that was yesterday's news or whatever as well. So yeah, it did come across maybe a little bit disrespectful to Neil Critchley, but I'm sure they'll just get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, to be fair, when you get to a situation where Anne Budge says it's yesterday's news, at that point I would have gone back in and went, no, it's relevant. You've sacked the manager, you know. You have to go back in and go for it, you know, to get a core out of it. They have to stand by their decisions. You know, you've sacked the manager, so, you know, stand up and say something.
Yeah.
You know, just wasn't good enough. Results were not good enough. That's why we made the decision. This is one of the reasons why so many of the Hearts fans are absolutely hacked off with them.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, in the previous years, they've been fantastic. They've come out very, very quickly with any relevant bad stuff that's been going on at the club, whether it's with the supporters or whatever. So, yes, I was surprised they never come out with a statement and put the supporters at rest, because the supporters are very anxious in what's happening at the club.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways, Roughie. You can't start, you know, coming out with Jamestown Analytics, heralding it all, taking all the good stuff.
Good publicity.
Yeah, you got to man up, you know, and basically stand there and say, yeah, we made the decision, we got it wrong. This is why we move on. Liam Fox is in. Liam Fox has turned into Graham Murty, isn't he? You know,
he's like the Scottish Tony Parks. Remember him? Remember him? Boy at Blackburn. Every time a manager gets sacked,
yeah.
I think he had about 9 caretaker roles at Blackburn. But yeah, listen, he's obviously a respected coach in at Hearts. He's been everywhere, and I'm sure he'll get a tune out of them. But he's just got to get the best out of them for the last 4 games, Peter, and make sure they're in the Premier League next year.
Yeah. Okay. Are they going to get the win against Ross County?
Yeah.
I watched Ross County last week.
Yeah, poor.
Oof. Oh, dearie me.
They've had a bad run at a bad time, Peter,
Yeah.
because they'd went on a decent wee run and got themselves, we thought, out of trouble.
Why did they do that? Because the wee boy Hale was scoring goals.
Yeah, he was scoring, and he's dried up Jordan White's, you know, not scoring goals, so that they are struggling a little bit. And I think that Hearts will go up there and get a result that just secures Premiership safety, because you look at the league table at the minute, Peter, and you know, people are saying St Johnstone are down. St Johnstone have got Kilmarnock at home and then Ross County at home.
Yeah.
You know, so if St Johnstone win on Saturday and Hearts beat Ross County, then it's all to play for. So, you know, I think that Hearts will beat Ross County, and I think Ross County will be dragged into it again, because I think St Johnstone will get something at Kilmarnock.
Interesting. It's going to go right down to the wire, isn't it? Amazingly, I'd looked non-stop, Roughie, over the last 4 or 5 seasons, and that average of playoff place is 38, 39 points. Usually if you get 40 and above, you've just managed to scrape away from it. So, you know, you've got Ross County. St Johnstone need to win against Kilmarnock, but you've got St Johnstone on 29, Ross County on 35, and Dundee on 37, and Kelly on 38. So I think of those 4 clubs, that's where it really does get squeaky bum time. What are you going for Hearts Ross County up at Dingwall?
I've been impressed with Ross County sometimes at home, you know, but they need day strikers to score goals. I think it's a nervous day for Hearts, because they'll know what it'll be like if they don't win the game, because they'll be back in it again. So I don't think Hearts will get beat, so I'm going to go 1 each. 1
each again. You're on a kind of a draw run at the moment, Roughie.
Boring.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to
stick your neck out and say somebody to win.
What happens if it's 1 each?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go Hearts 2-1.
I'm going 2-1 to Hearts.
Yeah, St Johnstone against Kilmarnock. It really is. I think this is last chance saloon, isn't it?
Must win for St Johnstone. 6 points adrift, Peter. 4 games left. Next 2, St Johnston, Kilmarnock at home, Ross County at home. They take 6 points out of those 2 games and they've given themselves a chance, but they've got to win this game. Kilmarnock have been really poor away from home all season. Good result last week. I think St Johnston will get a point. I think they'll get a point. I think that Hearts will beat Ross County. And I just think that they need to win the next 2, Peter. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think Derek McKinnon certainly knows how massive this game is.
I think we've all got work to do. I think we've all got our own issues at the minute. We've all got concerns and nobody can really breathe easy. So for us, I think when you play teams in and around you, as all the rest of the teams are now in the bottom 6 except Murrow, that it's like trying to cut each other's throat really. And 3 points is great for your own, but you're also damaging your opponent. And ultimately that's where we're at. It almost feels like every game is vitally important.
Yeah, I think a win for Kelly here, seals it for them as a safety. I'm going to go for Kelly to win 2-1. You've got a draw. What are you going again?
Draw, 1 each.
Draw, 1 each. Okay. What about young Master Wales? What is it?
Roughie's just thinking to himself, you just slaughtered me for going for 1 each, and I've just went 1 each. He's got a point.
Yeah.
He's just stared at me.
What did you go for St Johnstone, Kilmarnock?
I'm going to go St Johnstone. I've been impressed with St Johnstone.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know you can see the relief in Derek McInnes's face last week when that first goal went in. So the pressure's definitely on. So, and I'm going to go St Johnstone to make it a wee bit exciting.
1-0?
2-0.
2-0. 2-0 against Kelly.
Yeah, I like that boy. Is it Kirk?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, Mackenzie.
Tremendous goals he's scored.
Yeah, okay. There you are, St Johnstone. You've got an ally.
You're captain?
You're going for a draw.
Young boy, captain?
No, I don't think he is. No.
You're thinking of Sterling.
Oh, shut up. He's 1-1. I'm going for I don't even know why I indulge with you. I'm going for Kelly to win it. What do you think?
Can you do the thing?
What about live long and prosper? What do you think about? You can't do it because your fingers are gone. And I was going to say to you, Tam, what do you make of young Barry Wales off to Swansea? 300,000, you reckon they'll get?
Yeah, I think he's had a really good season, Peter, and I think that the great spell at Alloa last year. A couple of people asked me about him. One for down south and one in Ireland, looking for him to maybe take him on loan. But he's done great at Kilmarnock. Listen, he's obviously been offered a big deal down there. I think in terms of playing football, I think he's probably better at Kilmarnock, but Kilmarnock's getting that type of money for him, and he's probably going down there and getting a good wage. It's hard to turn down, but yeah, fair play to him. I think he's a really promising young striker, and let's hope he goes down to Swansea and plays football. But it'll be a blow for Kilmarnock because he scored a few important goals for him this year.
Yeah, okay. Let's know what you think. Who's going to land in that playoff place? And what do you think, St Johnstone, Kilmarnock? Of the other games, Hibs against Dundee United. This great with St Mirren and Aberdeen because the battle for third is very much alive, and this is absolutely massive and slightly in Hibs' favour because of the fact they've got that home game.
Yeah, I think it's a pivotal weekend, Peter, for the race for third. I think this weekend will decide it. I think when you look at the 2 fixtures, I think that obviously Dundee United have to beat Hibs to have any chance of finishing third. I don't think they will. And Hibs, poor last week, but nothing really in the game. I think Dundee United are running in fumes at the minute. I think you've seen the last few weeks. They're just hanging about. And I think that Hibs can get back at winning ways and get the result. And I don't think Aberdeen will beat St Mirren away from home. So this is a real big one for Hibs. If they get the 3 points, they can go 3 points possibly ahead of Aberdeen again with a better goal difference, and that could all but seal third place. So I'm going to go for a Hibs win, 2-0.
And worthy of a mention in the Manager of the Year?
David Gray, yeah, definitely, Peter. I think when you look at the start of the season they had, I think he was probably fortunate the last 2 or 3 previous Hibs managers had been sacked pretty early, and there was a real clamour to stick with a manager, and they've done that with David. Obviously, we're at the game in Aberdeen, that Rocky Bashiri goals turned the whole club around, and yeah, I think he has. I think if they go and finish third this season from where Hibs were, I think he's definitely in the running for Manager of the Year, but listen, he's still got a bit of work to do, Peter, and they can take a big step towards that tomorrow.
2-1 Hibs.
2-1 Hibs.
2-0 Hibs.
Okay. St Mirren against Aberdeen. This is a nice one for the Dons player, Shaded Morris. He's the club's player of the year, and he wants to stay at Pittodrie and try and land some silverware.
To be fair, I'm really happy at Aberdeen, so of course it's something I'll be thinking of, but right now my aim is just to finish this season as strong as possible. I want to bring a trophy back to the city, and I want to finish in Europe. So that's my full focus right now. As everyone knows, we've got a final at the end of the season, but for us, every game is a final. So tomorrow's another final, next week's another final. So tomorrow's massive for us. We're going to go in there full guns blazing, knowing that every game is so massive for us right now.
This is not a shoe-in, Roughie, because of the nature of the team they're playing in St Mirren, and we've had Stephen Robinson in here. But when I look at Aberdeen, you know, you can sing their praises for performances. Nisbet's goal against Hibs was a belter, but it's this consistency you need to show it all the way to the end of the season. I think it's going to go right down to the wire for the third position.
Yeah, but this is a big one for Aberdeen, as Tom said. If they don't win it, you know, Hibs are going to grab the initiative. I know both of them's got Rangers and Celtic coming up, but I think St Mirren have got the bit between the teeth, and I think that showed last week that they're not going to lie down to anybody. They're going to go right until the very, very end, and it's not the first time that's happened at St Mirren. So I think St Mirren will give them a very, very difficult game, and I can't see either of the two of them winning. But I'm going to say goals, 2 each.
2 each? Oh, you think by saying 2 each it'll hide? It'll be hide the fact that
Actually got a wee kick there.
Yeah.
2 each.
I honestly feel as if this is a slip up that gives Hibs the initiative, Tam. I think it's going to be a draw.
Yeah, I think it'll be a draw as well, Peter. I think that St Mirren showed last week they're kind of playing with the house money at the minute. I think that they've got nothing to lose. I think they'll go out and try and win every game. If it's a draw, you'll throw strikers on it to try and win it. They can't get any of the ball at the bottom or anything like that. So they'll just try and win every game from now to the end of the season. And I think they'll play with a wee bit more freedom than Aberdeen. And I think I'll go for 2 each as well. I think it'll be goals. Yeah,
and still Stevie Robinson still firing out what he said to us last week, going for those points to try and get us into Europe. If they get into Europe, they should take him down on a bus down.
Yeah, I think 5th could possibly get yourself in there, Peter.
Yeah.
And, listen, if they've got many games left for, I think they've got to take 10 points or 12 points to try and catch Dundee United. But it's not impossible. We'll see what happens. But I'll go for 1 each in this, 2 each. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and thanks to Kenny, who says, class will prevail, Peter. We have better players. And Kaiser says, Aberdeen are due St Mirren a good hiding. We shall see if Aberdeen turn up and do that. Certainly if you get Nisbet scoring goals like the one he did. Nisbet last week was brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. I don't know who Nisbet is. The other thing I was going to mention to everyone is thank you for your support in subscribing to PLZ Soccer. All our content, all the way to the end of the season and beyond, is absolutely free. The stuff that you watch at the moment, thank you to the people who have been complimentary about the journos, Straight Talk, the football show itself. We've got big news for the new season, getting bigger and better, and lots more content for you as well, as so many of our competitors just try and copy what we're doing. We have got lots more ideas and things that you can get involved in, and we've launched PLZ Premium, which is additional content that you can subscribe into, and getting that additional content will get you the first 1,000 people will get our Legends poster, of course access to some of our one-to-ones earlier than anyone else, and over and above that, discount in the shop, as well as some other really good extra benefits for you on PLZ Premium. It's additional content. It doesn't affect what you've been watching and what you enjoy. And thank you to so many people for downloading the podcasts as well. The amount of people, Roughie, that we've run into at some of our gigs who say they go out and they watch it. I mean, on our exclusive interview with the Tennis Davis Cup captain Leon Smith, which is on PLZ Premium at the moment. He talks about his favourite team, his favourite player in football, and then talks about Andy Murray. But he does mention, like so many people, that if he's travelling anywhere in a car across Europe, or indeed just going out for a walk, he's got the podcast on, listens to it, and thoroughly enjoys it.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing, you know, and I was up in Peterhead there, and, you know, Lossiemouth, and it's amazing that people come up to you and actively as a part of their day. You know, they know when they went to watch it, and as you say, they can watch it whenever they like.
Yeah, another thing about it, the great thing about the show is we are not in any way thin-skinned and easily offended, Tam. We like people not to be I'm just about to see. We don't like people to be
Crying in a dark room if I was.
We don't like people to be abusive, and that's why I'm going to read out Rob's, because I think it's only right and proper, Roughie, that we read out the compliments to some people that are thinly veiled as digs at us. And Rob has said Alison is the best pundit on PLZ, except when Stephen McGowan is on. So there you are, Rob's. It's a lovely way of Rob, just nice little. But by the way, you three numpties.
He's looking for more intellectual chat with those two, isn't he? He's probably
Big words.
Yeah, big words that Tam never really uses on the show. And somebody says Tam's the best Ned that's ever been on the show, and I think that's probably the most accurate of them all. There from one of our viewers. Everybody's got their level, Roughie, haven't they?
I think it's a hairdo.
Yeah.
It's a hairdo. It's aggressive.
You've struggled this year. You've gone through that.
Is that aggressive?
It just looks neddy.
Yeah, but you've shaved it.
Fairly new like
Do you know what you did, by the way?
Donald sign.
You went, your bottle crashed, because there was one moment in here which a lot of the viewers didn't see and the podcasters didn't hear, was when Scott Allen started
I was trying to grow it, Peter.
touching your hair
Never
just
the
to
patience
see.
with it, Peter.
You didn't. You wanted
Didn't
to
have
kind of have
patience,
that kind of a...
It was all grey at the sides and I was getting a bit...
What look were you going for? Was it a kind of a Simon Templar look, or a,
No, I was going for
more
Lamal.
Brad Pitt, Lamal?
No, I was trying to grow it, but I lost patience.
Remember what it was like when you first came in?
Oh, he was a Ned then.
You were like
yeah.
the boy, what was it?
I dyed it.
James
Well,
Bond.
He was a Bond villain. In fact, when we first hired you, this is the God's honest truth, Tam.
I bumped my scalp, man.
Well, I sent an email to everybody. Make sure you lock all your drawers and your car, because you did look like a Ned at the time. But you've managed to.
Basically, I can't look like an Ed, according to Ruffy.
Yeah.
No matter what hairstyle I've got, I look like an Ed.
No,
Yeah.
You're young and you're just losing it.
Exactly. So, listen, I'll tell you even better than that. Not only did we give you one-to-ones, and Tam, you've enjoyed the Footballers Football Show this season, haven't you?
Aye, it's been great. Jerry McCabe was brilliant. A lot of great feedback for that, for a lot of Hibs supporters getting in touch with me. And it's guys like that who's been involved in football, Peter, as a player and a coach, that have got some great stories. And
Yeah, you've a lot of good guests.
It's even better if I actually personally know them and I've worked with them.
Yeah.
I think you can get a wee bit of more banter. So I'm looking forward to the 425 coaches that I did work with coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the good thing about it. And the great thing about it is you're getting that absolutely free, and each week you can see Tam and his stage of becoming less wooden. So, hello everybody. It's brilliant, Roughie, isn't it?
That kind of comment.
No, I know, you're the worst of all, aren't you?
I can do it.
Get Ruffy to host it one day.
Oh, no, you can't. Oh, you can't,
Bottle
by
it,
the
man.
way. Honestly.
Bottle it. Only the big dogs that can do that.
You would be as well watching early episodes of Rainbow. It's more entertaining. Anyway, thanks to so many of you for giving us your predictions on the big games in the Scottish Premiership. It might be Old Firm weekend, and Celtic and Rangers fans looking forward to it. Glasgow Derby weekend, whatever way you want to put it down and argue with each other about. We don't care. We just love football. We love football fans talking about their team, and we certainly are looking forward to what is going to be a humdinger. I'm going to go out for a quick meal tonight, Ruff. You know that one where you've set it for a time of 6 o'clock and you're thinking, I could get out there, get a meal, and then get back in and then go, oh, you'll never believe this, Falkirk are on. Boom. Straight on. I'm going to watch Falkirk against Hamilton, and I think...
It's a sad day when you've got to take your wife out for a meal so you can watch a game. Hopefully I never get to that stage, Peter.
No, it wasn't that. It was just getting it at the right time. It wasn't a bribe, Roughie. It was just, let's do it at 6 o'clock.
I wish I was with you.
Yeah.
I can't beat that. I'm going to Sound of Music, sing along.
What?
Sound of Music, sing along.
that?
Cumbernauld.
You're joking me, aren't you?
I know the songs anyway, so the words come up in the bottom, so it helps you.
Sing along? Was
Wow.
that pop? Is that a karaoke song?
In a theatre.
Wow, that is unbelievable, Roughie. And one of the reasons why we're now looking for
horrific.
somebody else that's in 3 World Cups to come in next season to replace him.
Hardin.
Yeah.
What ex-teammate was nicknamed Mary Poppins?
What?
What ex-teammate of yours was nicknamed Mary Poppins?
At Hibs?
No, at Celtic.
Oh, that's a good one. Even I don't know that.
Ian Andrews, no?
Oh, no, he was just, you could call him in. That was Frank Spencer.
Was it? By the way, can I just say to you a couple of things I'm going to mention before we go, but we're going to talk about Falkirk Hamilton. John McGlynn, it's absolutely unbelievable what he's facing now, because he has a look, I don't know about you, but he has a look of a man with that 1,000-yard stare now, thinking, are we going to blow it?
He's had a touch with Hamilton getting relegated, didn't he? Let's be honest. I think if Hamilton had won their appeal yesterday, and then something, they're going to be demoralised. I mean, I looked at the bookies. I think Falkirk at 1-8 or something, 1-7 to win the game. I think.
Did you think they were going to win the appeal, Hamilton? Really?
No,
I never thought so.
I'm going to stick my neck in the line. I think Falkirk will batter them. I'm going to go for 4-0.
Wow. Well, John McGlynn's hoping for a good start.
So we've got to try and get a good start in the game to calm them down, which again will be able to perhaps calm the players down. A good start in the game, getting a grip of the game. Of course, you can't guarantee anything. Anything can happen in a football match, but we can try our utmost to stay as calm as we possibly can be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one thing, Roughie. I don't think there's any motivation. I agree with Tam. I think Hamilton have gone. They'll be so demoralised. I think it could be a goals fest for Falkirk. And obviously, from our point of view, we're going to release our mini documentary on it. Thanks to Falkirk for giving us access all areas. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously not getting Hamilton at the right time. They are in a bit of a mess. No changing the stadium, things going on behind the scenes, you know, all that carry on. Can't be good for the players. They're going to turn up at Falkirk. There's going to be not a full house, but near enough. They're going to be 6,000 or 7,000 Falkirk supporters. They're cheering their team round. If they get the first goal, I agree with Tam, they could run out 2 or 3. But I'd love to. I'd rather be playing Hamilton than some of the other teams at the top.
Yeah, and of course, as ever with players, they always seem to remember something in their past that they want to try and rectify. Scotty Arfield thinking about that time, those many years ago when they were relegated.
I've never lived it down, and I've never let it down that I was one of the players that was the failure in that team, because the club shouldn't have went down that year, and I was part of it. So I always felt that if there was ever an opportunity to bring them back to where it would mean a hell of a lot. So that's as simple as I could put it. So yeah, as I said, we've got one game to do it, and it would mean a hell of a lot to everybody that's been in this journey. Not just myself, but everybody, even the last 2 or 3 years with the management team that have worked so hard to get this club back to a situation where it could be in Saturday morning in a completely different place where it was on Friday night.
Yeah, I think they'll be a great addition to the Premiership. I'm going to go 4-0.
Yeah, I feel his pain, Scotty, there. You know, talking about, you know, clubs that get relegated, and it still haunts me, and I still got a massive burden with the 6 clubs that I get relegated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's something you're constantly having to talk to people about on a regular basis, and getting well paid, overpaid, in my opinion, Roughie, to be honest with you. You know, just
I think all these supporters, you've just destroyed their lives.
Exactly, with relegation and administration and liquidation. He's killed a few clubs off. But I think 4-0. What are you thinking?
4-0, aye.
Yeah? 3-0. Okay, comfortable 3?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Livingston, Partick Thistle. What a game this is going to be, because quite simply, David Martindale, I think he's managed to keep a level head on this one. When I was talking to him earlier on in the week, you know, he was in great form. He's just absolutely brilliant. Especially when we had him as a guest, we did a 1-to-1 documentary with him. He was superb. He's quite happy with where they are right now in this. What's at stake?
I think there's more of a chance than what I felt we would have at this stage of the season, to be honest. I think I was very vocal on that. Maybe a couple of months ago, I thought it was Falkirk were a wee bit out in front, but they failed to get it over the line. So I think there's a very good opportunity for us as a football club to be playing Premier League football next year. But again, I think the probabilities are it's in Falkirk's hands, of course it is. But no, I think there's a genuine opportunity there for us as a football club to be playing Premier League next year.
Livingston to win 2-1, and I still fancy them to win the overall championship.
Yeah, I think they'll come up, Peter, this year. I think it'll be in the playoffs, but it'll all depend if the scoreline comes through and Falkirk are 2 or 3 up at half time. Livingston as well, just pulling their big players off, and looking forward to the playoffs. But yeah, I agree. I think they've had a good season as well. I think both clubs are on 70 points, and so it's been a good season for both. But Falkirk's just going to pip them, I think.
Yeah, Livingston to win though.
Livingston to win.
Roughie?
No, I think it'll be a draw.
Okay, 1 each, so that'll sway it if Falkirk can do the business against Hamilton Accies. What do you think? Just before we go, a couple of things I want to mention to you. 3-1, Spurs, Bodo Glimt. Ange Postecoglou, could he win the Europa League and then get sacked? Stranger things have happened. This is what he thought of the performance.
Really calm going forward and created good opportunities for ourselves and maintaining pressure, and yeah, obviously they scored the goal late, which doesn't, I think, reflect our dominance in the game. But yeah, if we repeat that performance next week, then it'll be enough for us to get through.
Yep, they were good. That late goal will annoy them, but I'll tell you one thing, it's a lot of Rangers fans that are happy. Athletic Bilbao 0, Man United 3. You never seen that one coming, did you?
Yeah, I think everyone went against Bilbao on the night. I think that obviously losing the man, and Man United were ruthless on the counter-attack, played really well, and that tie is over, that's done. And it looks as if it's going to be a Man United Spurs final. It's incredible, both with really, really poor seasons domestically, but one game possibly away from European trophy and straight into the Champions League. So massive for both.
Yeah, must just say the best game I've seen in many a year. Barcelona 3, Inter 3. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think if you're a neutral, and I am, I'd like to see Barcelona and PSG in the final. I think that both have got some really talented players going forward. Lamau, 17 years old. Potentially could be the next Messi for me. He's that good.
Yeah. He did a double step over and I fell off the couch.
I did on the touchline, and the goalie saved it and pushed out in the bar. He's some player, 17.
I mean, it's strange, by the way. I had a visitor come in just as the game kicked off, and you know that way you're looking at the television while you're talking to them. 32 seconds, back flick. Oh yeah, up off the chair. Couldn't believe it, and I knew we were on a roller coaster. It was magnificent, wasn't it?
Great game. Hard one to call, but looking forward to watching it in Spain next week.
Yeah, oh, brilliant. Tam's obviously taking a holiday before the season has ended.
That's scandalous.
After being so critical of Roughie, he's doing it as well. But don't forget, as ever, in the new season with PLZ Soccer, we always introduce new pundits. And when you get to the end in your testimonial year, it's maybe time that you head off elsewhere.
Yeah, this is nearly the longest I've ever spent with one company or team.
Yeah, I know.
6 years. I was at 7 years at Hibs.
And we're close to folding, which tells you everything.
Don't say
that. Anyway, Jonah's here with us. I know. How many years have you been here?
6.
That's incredible, isn't it? 6 years. That is unbelievable.
Usually found out long before that.
I mean, even Barry kissed the badge after 3 and bolted, By the way, we've had somebody longer.
Still waiting a bigger offer.
It'll come. We've had somebody longer than him. We had Smudger.
Oh, Smudger, yeah.
Gordon Smith was great.
Yeah, revisited this week. I saw him in the papers this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
League reconstruction.
Yep, good man, great player. Talking of great players and great managers, I'll tell you, we're really looking forward to it. PLZ Productions, Gordon Strachan and Martin O'Neill, an evening with them. Now, if you think about it, if you're an Aberdeen fan, you're going to get great stories from Gordon Strachan on Fergie. If you're a Nottingham Forest fan and you watched him play, Martin O'Neill's got some great stories on Brian Clough. And then the two of them as players, their career is unbelievable, trophy laden, lots of great fun. The two of them are opinionated, and when you think of them as managers as well, at Celtic, they'll get some great stories. What a night it's going to be. I can't remember the two of them being together as a double act. I'm really looking forward to it, Tom.
Yeah, I think that obviously two fantastic footballers, great careers, won European trophies, and then as managers as well, particularly at Celtic, both of them tremendous. Remember playing against Martin O'Neill's teams, very, very good size, strong size, big teams. So yeah, I think that'll be a great night, and some of the stories that they'll come out with.
Yeah, it's a good one, Roughie, isn't it?
Be great. I think you've had trouble selling that one.
Nope.
We sold out. You could do that 2 or 3 nights in a trot.
Yep, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. 14th of June, if you click on to the PLZ website, and of course on the link on our feed, you'll be able to get yourself some tickets for that. It's across our social media as well. On Twitter, you can find out the details of that. And if you want to subscribe to PLZ Premium too, or just subscribe to PLZ Soccer, we'll be absolutely delighted. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to finish with one little comment, and it says, has the Dortmund casual not been part of PLZ longer than that? You're absolutely right. The man who's been with us since the start, Roughie, well, 2 weeks into it, because I was going to pick a fight with you because you're doing my head in.
Yeah.
But we brought him on board, Hugh McDonald, and he's been brilliant ever since.
Yeah, he was a celebrity guest at the beginning, then we just couldn't do without him.
Yeah, absolutely. He wasn't.
Once again.
No, he wasn't a celebrity guest. He was a saviour. That's what he was. Great to have you. The boys are getting ready. Good luck to all the teams in the championship. What a night we are in for. But from Roughie, Tam McManus and myself, Peter Martin, thank you for listening and watching.